Okay, everybody, this video is for the Denon DN-X1100 crossfader. I noticed there's a lot of questions concerning the crossfader, and I believe a lot of people want to get this mixer and they believe it's a good mixer, which it is, but they have questions about the crossfader, and there's not a lot of information online concerning the crossfader. And they want to know what flex fader is and how good is the fader, like can they scratch on it, can they cut with it. Okay, flex fader is just, all that means is that the tension on the fader can be adjusted from loose, which I have mine very loose, as you can see. And to show you real quick is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 screws on this plate in the middle of the mixer. So you just remove this plate. Of course, you take your fader knobs off, and you just remove this plate. And once you remove the plate, you'll see like 2 screws, I believe, on the fader box. You remove those 2 screws, and of course there's a cord that plugs in from the fader to the mixer. You just remove that gently. You take your box out, and there's a screw on the side of your box where you can take the same screwdriver that you remove these screws with, and you just adjust the screw from left to right to adjust the tension on the fader from, tight or, to your liking, loose if you like to scratch. I do a little scratching, but I just like my fader loose anyway, so that's all that is. And just real quick, if I could show you the cut-in time, because of course you have your fader contour, cross fader contour. I have mine all the way to the right for like immediate cut-in time. And just to show you real quick the cut-in time, real quick, okay, as you can see, the fader is all the way to the right, and it's right on that white line. Now just to show you, as soon as I cross that white line, it cuts in. Immediate cut-in time. And that's very good for those who like to scratch, or those who just want immediate cut-in time. Of course, your contour has to be all the way to the right for immediate cutting. And just like I show you, it just cuts in immediately. And just to show you, no bleeding or nothing. No bleeding. Okay, now, and I believe the other question is, or a lot of questions people have, that, is this fader as good as the fader that you would get on a Ring TTM56 or Ring TTM57, or a lot of mixes that are preferred for cut DJs and things like that, or just if you don't want to keep replacing your fader. The faders on the Ring TTM 56 and 57, for those that know and those who don't know, of course, they're magnetic faders, meaning that there's no contact, and they say that the mixes will last you a lifetime, that the faders will never wear. And of course, you have optical faders, which they say they'll never wear, and that you'll have to keep cleaning them. But one thing about the Ring mixes, those particular mixes, the TTM 56 and 57, are that they're 2-channel mixes. I like 4-channel mixes just so I can have, if I need to expand, and I'm doing a gig, anything, I can expand. I can use my this mixer has 2 microphone outputs. You don't see a lot of 4-channel mixes with 2 channels, or has 2 microphone outputs, 1 mic, 1 auxiliary mic. But back to the fader. Of course, this is a VCA fader. For those who may have looked at reviews, it's a VCA fader, meaning it's voltage control, or VCA stands for voltage control amplifier, and it's the same type of fader that you would use, like for those who've heard of the inner fader. Like inner fader, a lot of cut DJs, scratch battle DJs, they replace their faders with inner faders. That means you can have probably have a crappy mixer and replace the fader with an inner fader. And basically, with a voltage controlled or VCA fader is a fader that it will eventually wear out. It won't last a lifetime. You will have to replace it one day, but it will not wear out as quick as a low budget or conventional fader where there's constant contact and resistance. And you'll hear you might have the mixer for not even 2 weeks to a month before you hear bleeding, because like the fader bleeding or cutting in early because the fader is wearing out. These will last a while. They'll last a long time before they wear out. But then of course they're not magnetic and it's not optical, but they will eventually wear out. It may last a year or two before you start to hear any bleeding or anything like that. So but you will one day eventually have to replace it, but just not as soon as your low budget mixer or crappy mixer. So it's a real good mixer for the money, real good sound. Not going to get into it. There's enough reviews on it, but this is just for the crossfader. Anybody want to look at reviews on the mixer, they can find it, or maybe I may post another video just strictly reviewing this mixer. But I was concerned about the crossfader because before I bought the mixer I had the same questions, but doing my research and actually using this mixer and playing with it, I could provide this information. So enjoy what you do. I'm out.